Hello, friends. Welcome back to Carnage Reviews. My name is Eric, and today we're going back to the slasher genre as we look at 2004's Toolbox Murders. Before we open up this toolbox, and wow, that kind of sounded strangely perverted for some reason, but anyways, just a quick reminder to please consider subscribing to the channel. Just click the subscribe button along with the bell icon to be notified when I upload new content. Toolbox Murders was directed by Tobe Hooper. It stars Angela Bettis, Brent Rome, Juliet Landau, Rance Howard, Marco Rodriguez, and Sherry Moon Zombie, who really isn't starring in the film as her role only lasts about 2 to 3 minutes. A young couple move into an apartment building in Los Angeles that was once home to the stars. It's broken down now and not in the best condition. To make matters worse, there is a mysterious killer lurking around the building, killing off women one by one. So, as a kid, making my way through the horror genre, the big directors for me were George Romero, John Carpenter, Wes Craven, and Tobe Hooper. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a classic and still holds up fairly well today. The film was gritty, unapologetic, and in your face. The irony is that a film titled Texas Chainsaw Massacre really has no blood or gore in it. It's all in the atmosphere, the set direction. That's what makes the film a classic. Toolbox Murders is actually a remake of a 1978 film called The Toolbox Murders, which was made to capitalize on the success of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. How ironic is it that Tobe Hooper, the director of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, would go on to direct a remake of a movie that basically tried to rip his movie off? Back in the day, I recall reading about this movie in Fangoria, which is what led me to buy it, I believe. So you guys might be wondering, why am I deciding to review this movie now? Well, I'll tell you guys. So, I was looking at my movie collection the other day, last week, and my girlfriend was there with me, and I was thinking about, what movie I'm going to review, and I was telling her that I wasn't really sure what I'm going to look at next. And she just randomly grabbed Toolbox Murders off the shelf and was like, "Here, look at this one." So, here we are. I can't really compare this film to the original because I haven't seen it. I will say that Toolbox Murders, overall, is very competent from a technical standpoint. It's very well shot and edited. It has some great atmosphere, and there are some genuine moments of tension. However, as a slasher film, it's fairly weak. Besides a couple of kills that are interesting, the movie's rather generic and boring. The gore is minimal. However, towards the end of the movie, there is one really cool gag. Perhaps if the backstory of the killer was just a bit stronger, maybe I would have liked the movie a little bit more than I did. The film does have some interesting ideas that it presents. However, they're just really vague and not fully explained. As I've said many times before, sometimes in horror films, the unexplained is more scary and more interesting. However, in this case, I feel like if there was just a bit more explanation, maybe if we just delved a little bit more into the backstory of the hotel and the killer, maybe things would have been better. The killer in the movie looks like a combination of the killer from Prom Night, the original Prom Night, and Darkman. Why does the killer look like this? Why is he even in the apartment building? Fuck if I know. The original owner of the apartment building was apparently involved in the occult and mixing the occult with science or some shit like that. I don't know. It still doesn't really explain why there's a killer in the apartment building and what the purpose of it all was. My guess was originally, when I first saw this movie, that the original owner of the apartment building was the killer. But based on the way the movie ends and the reveal, I don't think that's the case, so I have no idea. So believe it or not, there actually is a sequel to this film, and it's on Tubi. I haven't seen it, but perhaps maybe the sequel gives a little bit more explanation on who the killer is and how he's connected to the apartment building, but who knows. I do know there was also a third one planned, but I guess the funding never came through, so it didn't happen. Speaking of funding, apparently one of the production companies involved with Toolbox Murders went out of business during filming, so production had to abruptly shut down. This resulted in some rather creative editing, from what I hear. So that is more than likely the reason why that backstory maybe is a little loose and doesn't really quite make sense.
Just kill me!
And I almost think that maybe they would have been better off just cutting out the whole backstory altogether and just leaving it more open-ended. But that's just me. So, as far as slasher films go, Toolbox Murders really isn't anything special. If you're looking for a low budget slasher film to watch that was made in the early 2000s, I highly recommend checking out Laid to Rest, which is a film I also reviewed a while back on this channel. Toolbox Murders has really good production value. The film looks great. Despite that, though, and no disrespect meant to the late Tobe Hooper, but the film itself is a rather dull and empty experience. I wouldn't say I hate the film. I don't even dislike it. I just feel nothing towards it. With that said, I give Toolbox Murders 2 skulls. Thanks for checking out today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, as always, please tap that like button. Really appreciate it. Have you seen Toolbox Murders? What do you think about my thoughts on the film? Do you agree or disagree with me? Let me know in the comments. Also, for those of you who have seen The Toolbox Murders, the original film, how does that compare to the remake? Let me know. Well, that about does it for me today, friends. A word of advice. If you move into an apartment and you find adult teeth in the walls, and the teeth look like they were ripped out of someone's mouth, yeah, the heck with your deposit. Get the fuck out of there. All right, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.